And we're going to go to Animate. So I'm going to start again. In the other video, I showed you the walkthrough on how to start and animate. So this is the one I had before. So just remember, you go New, and you're going to choose the character animation right here. 1280 by 720 is good, and you simply create. And then that starts your page, and that's where you begin. Now, what we did before was we created geometric shapes. So you can go back to that. I'm going to try to get this so you can see this. Yeah, there we go. I want to be sure that you can see all the windows that I have here. Okay, can everybody see? Can you see over here?
You mean where just mouse is going random?
Can you see? I just want to know where the edges are, so you see all the edges. Okay. All right, so now remember what we talked about the library? So here's my tools. You can, remember the tools are here. And let me just move this over a little bit. Remember the space bar. The space bar, mouse down, gives you a hand so you can move your stage.
I didn't even realize that. Okay.
That's a real important tool. In fact, I never really liked computers until I found that tool. And it was like, okay, I can move this piece of paper. Okay, so it's important to know that you've got to have your windows organized. You cannot work in any software unless your windows are organized. Because you spend too much time looking for things because they may be behind something. So you want to be sure you have your tools open, and I do mean you want to have them all open. Make sure you open them all the way up. And do remember when you mouse down, there are more tools to be seen. So some of these tools you'll see that are actually from Photoshop and Illustrator. Very intuitive tools like buckets and things like that, and brushes and so forth. And then we also have the library. So these two windows, the library and the property box, are critical to have quickly. And then you have things like color. But don't forget your color is also here when you double click. You have the color down here as well. And don't forget your escape button gets you out of windows that you want to jump into. So the symbol library, do remember you can drag and drop from this corner into the symbol. So let me show you that again. So I have all these layers down here. These are what we call layers. I'm going to turn them all off. Yep. Turn them all on, turn them all off. Now I'm going to create a new layer. So I have a blank layer here. And literally you can drag and drop from your symbol these multiple layers. Now that would be fine, but I couldn't animate them separately. Why? Because they're on one layer. If these were all going to be animating, they would have to be all on separate layers. So that's not, you must remember that if you drag something to a layer, it's because you want to animate it separately from everything else. So backgrounds can have multiple elements, but they're all in one layer because the background's not animating. So the important thing is how to get your objects from the library to the scene. So remember up here, the scene is your actual movie. And yes, you can have multiple scenes. So when you come up here, we'll talk about this. This is your scene window, right? And I got that from Windows. So you can have multiple scenes like this. And we will talk about that. When do you make a new scene? And you make a new scene when things are getting enough on one scene and you're scrolling too long and there's a big shift in the design. So what we do is we take, and you can also change the order of things. So Flash will play this in order. So if you want to move this to be the second scene, you can do that. So the important part is, when do you decide upon a scene to change? And we'll talk about that when I come to that point. But anyway, this is how you make a movie in Flash. And when you export, which is up here, File Export, you're going to make a video. And that will play, that will render all of the scenes. Interesting enough, what I keep waiting for in each new version, and I don't see it this time, because it's actually changed a little bit. So you'll see me quite frustrated, going like, where is it? There's a new update on these changes. And is that you cannot just render a scene by itself. So it renders all the scenes. So I keep waiting for, export scene, whatever you may be in. But if you notice on that export, you can also export an image. So you could be somewhere in any frame, in any scene, and export that as an actual image, which is really nice, so that you can actually, you do a rough pencil sketch storyboard, but now you can actually export an image from your animation, and now you have a colorized storyboard. So you've got the rough, and then you get it colorized because you've actually made it. So that is about scenes. So right now, we only need to be concerned, and you see I'm in a scene right now, and I'm confused. It's like, where are my layers? Right? Remember I said one of the things that you always do in Flash is like, where am I? I'm in scene 2. So I need to go back to scene 1. And there are my layers. So because that's going to be a problem, I'm going to delete those other layers. So you'll watch it, they'll say, are you sure you want to delete this? Because there's a lot of work when you do these things, but I know these are all blank because I created them. And I don't believe these deletes or undos. Yeah, control and clicking delete, I'm not sure. I've never seen that undo on a delete of a scene. So anyway, so the scenes are there for you, and we'll talk about them when we need them. So the first video I did for you did create some geometric shapes. So what I'm going to show you right now, on our next session when we come back from break, because what I want you to do is to really make those geometric shapes, if you haven't done them already, in Animate. So you can ask me questions if you're trouble, if you hit a wall in Animate, I can help you troubleshoot it. So as you know, we have all of these here. So what I'm going to show you right now is how to animate them and how to use the tools to get them to move. So the best way, since this is empty, I'm going to just trash this. The best way to animate is to do one thing at a time. Then you can begin to turn them all on and then choreograph them so that they kind of match in their contact or in sync in timing. So right now, let's just do a tween. And interesting enough, I did this tween before we came back, and it's totally different than when I last was in Flash, which was not too long ago. So the important thing is that each new version, sometimes things change. But as long as you know what you're after, you can be able to find it. And so right now, what I'm going to show you is I'm going to get my frame. So right now, as you can see, this is one layer and one frame. And this button over here can make things spread out. So you see more or you see less. So this is important to know that this will show you all of the frames or get close into frames. And that's the resizing of the timeline right down here. So what you want to do is you want to right click. When you right click on an object, all the editing tools that you need are there. Yes, they're also up here, but you don't want to use them up there. You want to use them on the right click. On the right click, everything comes down so that you can be able to get to editing. So what we want to do is apply the motion tween. And the motion tween is a little bit of this yellow bar here. And you notice the marker, this blue marker here, this is what we see wherever the time is in the animation. And if you notice, and I'll do this again, I'm going to Control Z or Command Z, depending if you're on a Mac or a PC. I'm going to right click again. Now watch, this is only one frame. When I right click, motion tween will throw it to frame 30, right? It throws frames 30 and it moves the marker to here. So that means that this is the end of time on this sprite, and I'm going to move it down to here. Now you notice it makes some kind of a key here, and it's interesting, it's different. I'll have to look at my view tool. I'm not seeing it where I normally would see like dots and triangles and things like that. So something has visually changed in here. And so I'll take a look at that during break because they've really changed things up. But the point to be made is that this color here, unselected, is gold. So all of these tweens, like classic tween, let me see here. Let me go over here. So they have the remove tween. If I came over here to the circle, you have much more tweens. I can't tell you how, I am a user experience designer, and I can tell you when they make new versions, they can sometimes mess things up. So you notice that when I right clicked, I'm letting you know this because it's going to pop up to you. All of the tweens are available to me. The classic tween, the motion tween, and the shape tween. Those are three distinctive tweens that we'll talk about, and they do very different things. But when I'm here and I right click, those tweens are not available to me. And that is because I have already applied the motion tween to this. So they're only giving me the motion tween tools. So that's important to know about that. So if you're looking for classic or shape, you're not going to see it because you have to go to something that has no tween applied to it. So now, now as you can see, if we play this, up here is how you do the control of the play. Let me see if we have, they've never given me a break apart controller, which I've always been looking for in new versions, so they don't. So right here, you can, these are shortcuts for you to know. So if I want to hit play, notice it says enter, right? So I can just hit enter and it will play, right? You also can put on here, under here, a loop. So I can put a loop, and that's because I'm highlighting right in there. But if I put it to the beginning, keep it on here, and stretch this out. This is a pain. This is a new thing. So you can see I have to stretch it out. Now that's going to play the loop for me over and over again. And the reason why we want that is because we want to see any mistakes. But you can see something keeps flashing, right? And that is because, and if you want to stop, hit enter again. It's because on, and you see the controls here. On here I have the blue on, so I'm just going to turn that off. And now when I hit the loop, it will give it to me easily. So now you see if I stretch this out, I can go see more frames. So this stretches it out, so if you want to get into that. So the reason why Motion Tween is a very popular effect in Flash is because the computer does all the work. You're not drawing all those frames. The computer just did the frames. So watch what happens when I move this manually and I start changing things. It will actually create the keyframe. Now, if you want something to stay straight, you can put, like over here, you can push your shift key and it will keep it aligned. So my finger right now is on the shift key, and so that when you play this, it creates the keyframe. So again, you can manually move this to here, and then you can move this to this part. And again, you just move it, and shift key keeps it aligned. So that when I play this, you see that, right? Now, the other things that I want to talk about, and this is important to know, is we have things that are what we call keyframes. Keyframes are distinctive changes that are going on within a particular time. So I could come over here and go, you know what? I don't want it to be orange anymore. No, not orange. I want it to be a color. I can change that color to become yellow. And I can make it be very yellow, which will take the stroke away. Or I can be kind of yellow. Now notice as it changes it afterwards. So this is when you go back and you have to tweak. So we'll go back to the beginning, and now I hit enter. You see it keeps that. But it does a transition to it. So let's come here. Let's change this now to another color. Change it to blue, or light green is nice. And notice it changes it also at the end. But it does keep it in the beginning, thank goodness. My complaint is it should keep it, if I lock it at the end, why doesn't it lock it? So then if I come back over here to the end, I can bring this back to the orange. And it's actually not, because of the tint, it's actually keeping it the same color as it is. So let's see how, if I grab this and I right click, copy frame, and I go to the end, and to the end, let's go to the end, why I should go to the end. Oh, here. This is frame by frame, keyframe by keyframe. This is going to take you to the end. And if I right click, paste a frame in here, you see here, paste frame. Let me give you my paste, not there. Paste and overwrite frame. I didn't really do that. I don't want the copy. So you can see this has changed from the other version completely. Because you used to be able to, and I'm already seeing some bugs. This should be taking me all the way to the end there, right? That's one frame there to the end. So you just scrub it. This is not working to the actual end. This should take you to the very, very end of what you want. And right click, paste frames. So you see over here, paste and overwrite frames. That's a brand new tool, folks, just to let you know. Super brand new. So this is not letting me paste in there. So it's not letting me paste frame would be another one. So I would have to remember to copy and paste that in there to get this here. Because if I'm on this right now, if I come up here to my property box or an object, you see instant square? If I swap it, it has that tint. So I would have to be able to make that tint again to become that split. So what I would do is I could right click right in here. Let me just take this. I'm going to get in here and highlight this and split this motion. There. I just split it on here. So now you can see this. And if you play this, let's get this loop off. When you play this, it comes here. And you notice it's boom, boom, and then plays. So this one here, then that one, then this one. So I don't want this one. I'm going to remove the frame. You see? So now you see I'm in my editing mode. I want it here. And then I want the last one to become a swap. So I'll come up here to Properties, Object, Swap, and this one is the light green, and so I would have to take off None. And so now it comes to here, and now it's None. So that's where you really have to be able to sometimes put your keyframes, because you might want that to be locked in. And so that way you would say absolutely none. So I'm going to go back again. So this is what we call controlling your editing. Let's go back to where this was. Here, there. So that keyframe, so if we watch it, remember we did it from here. And now I want this one on the effect. So here's something that's very, very important to remember that will drive you crazy if you're not remembering what I'm saying here. When you click the stage, the property box changes. When you click the timeline, the property box changes. So Riley, you said it's complicated. This is when it's complicated. He was like, why can't I see that tool? I know that tool is there. It is because you have selected the object on the stage instead of selecting the object on the timeline. So now watch how I go back and forth. Change, 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 change. So welcome to computer software, folks. Everything is based upon your selection. Everything. So it's really important to be cognitive of that. So the point to be made is, you see the color property is not here. This visual effects is not here. So I must select the object. Here are the color effects. Here is tint. And now I'm going to say none. And it brings it back to me. Now, when I scrub this, welcome to Flash. It
You accidentally highlighted all of it.
It does not keep. So this is what I call a bug. So I'm going to right click this. I'm going to insert keyframe, say all. So you notice insert keyframe, keyframe locks it. Come back up to here, apply the tint. And you see how it changes it. That is a big problem in Flash for making that happen. So there you would have to make a separate tween to motion tween that, and I'll show you how to do that. But that's the important component, is that on here, this one, if I right click this, if I say insert keyframe, I'll say color this time, okay? So I want them to keep that. And I right click and I say insert keyframe, color on this. And I want it to change to tint to none. You see, it does not save that. So the classic tween will more than likely do that, but this is when you go back and you really have to change. So at this point, you would want to be able to have that split there. So that's how you change things. You can also change the effect to disappear. So let's do that on this one. So you scrub, you have to remember where the scrubber is as well, because that knows where to put the change. So on this one, let's do the alpha channel. So if I wanted this to disappear, that's how you get this to disappear. And then this will come up to here. And then again, reset the effect so that you have the alpha 100%. And if you want the tint, you can do the tint, and then it comes down and disappears. So that is how you can get these things to be in transition from one to the next. The other thing that I want to show you is what if I wanted this to rotate? So when we take a next break, I want you simply to work with the motion tween, and we'll do it for the other position as well. I want to show you what else you can do with this simple box that you can do with all the layers. So on here, let's do the rotate. So the rotate, again, is getting down here to right down here, rotate. It's really tiny. They changed that. It used to be nice and big. Now it's really tiny in the dashboard design. So you want to say counterclockwise, and now it just applies it. Now, how much do you want? Simply plays it clockwise. I can see some nice bugs on this new version here, folks. But welcome to software. So now you see you have a bouncing, rotating ball. Now, if I wanted to make this slower, or if I wanted to make it faster, you can roll over this and just bring it in, and then you would have this. If you want to make it slow, just stretch it out and keep stretching. This is where that will show you all of your frames. So now I'm up to 100, and there is when it is super, super slow. So what happens in motion tween, which is why we like motion tween, but it's clearly very buggy. So I'm going to try to get around on this bug and Google, like, and actually I didn't see an update. You'll notice a lot of updates when you get the Creative Cloud. Definitely update. When you get in, when it says update, it means that they fixed the bug. And you don't want to be faced with that bug like I just found today on locking the keyframe of colors. So clearly that's going to be probably the next fix. But the point to be made is that if you want, you can scroll down here to get to the end, right down here, this bar under here. Let me pull this up so you can see it. Right here. So you see I'm getting to my end right there. And then you can hover over and just pull it, just drag it. Mouse down and drag. So now I'm about 100 now. And then you can go back and get it so that you can see it all. Oh, I'm still, well, that's because of this window. So you want to bring this in all the way. So the thing about the difference between computer animation and traditional animation is that in the motion tween, I'm just rolling over this now to pull it in. I want to get it in so I can see all of it. There. No, it stretches it out. Not a really good magnifying tool. They did not improve it. Let me just get this in. Usually you could see 60 frames all within one view, but I can see they have not done that. Okay, so the important thing is what Flash does is when you're working, you want to get this guy, let me get this guy as close as possible. There. So now you can see it here. Not really, doesn't give you too much of that magnification. Okay, so you see I'm in my viewing window right here. So you literally can create your entire timeline of an object within this space of 32 frames. So at any time, I could say, you know, I want it to come off. Move this bar, move it down. Move this bar, move it up. I'm following the board, of course, moving it over here. And you can also do this. You can also move this over so that you can be able to pick it. So let me see here. I'm not going to do this. So you can move these one at a time and move the whole thing. So I'm going to deselect and move them. So you see, you have to be sure. Watch this again. Notice the color change that happens. When it's all together, everything is selected. If you want to move one at a time, you want to what we call deselect. Come off of the all selection, mouse down on one, and now you can move them to be a little bit choreographed the way you want to move them so that they're together. So when I play this, I'm not happy with it. They don't give me a full one that goes all the way to the beginning. And like right now, I have nothing here, right? There's nothing here. So I select highlight the whole thing and just move one. Move it so that you can move the whole thing on this. You see now I moved it there. And you can also come up here and I can say remove that frame. And it slams it up there. So remember that right click. Everything you need is in the editing tool here. So now when I play this, return, it's pretty crazy. But I could stretch this out now to be all the way at the end in this animation right here. And again, you can also highlight this and right-click Remove Frames. So now if I want to hover this and stretch it out all the way, you can also just put the frame down. And now when you watch this, this is when we're working like this, this is actually your preview. To see the actual movie, when you render it as a video, is coming up to here, Control, Test, Simply Test. Now that's the movie we just made. The first frame, even though I turned it off in my preview, is there in the real movie. When I did this timeline right now with this box, it was actually very short, but I moved it, I stretched it out. So you can actually work with one time frame. So again, this rewind and play, enter, but test movie gives you exactly what the video is going to be. Questions. And again, when this video is rendered, you can stop it and start it, and stop it and start it, and watch. So what we did is apply the two things. So I'm going to turn this off. And I'm going to show you another aspect. Turn this one on. Right click again, motion tween. Oh boy, do I love this. Very buggy. There. So, oh my God. So it still lives up to its name. What I call Flash, I call it a sticky software. And when you're a beginner, you go really crazy with it. But when you're used to it like I am, and this is a new version, sometimes what you click doesn't apply. You just saw that, right? You just witnessed that. So that's what I call Flash being a sticky software. It's like, come on, take the tool. So just remember that, just deselect and right click. Let's go back again. Let's make sure it does it again, okay? So you want to click it, right click, motion tween, apply. So there we have it. And what I want to do is show you the scale. So scale is this tool up here. When you apply it, now the marker is here. So I'm going to make it go from small to big. You get the handles, and I can bring it down. Now I could distort it. If I do not want it to be distorted, you've got to hit Shift key down and bring it down. Now, that scaled it to the center. If you want to scale it to this part right here, you need to move this white dot to there, Shift key again, and you bring it down to there. So now when I come over here to the last frame, I'm going to Shift key and bring it up. And now that makes, whoops, forgot about my timeline here. I'll just split on here and then delete. So I just split that. So you see how it's blue? Shift key, go to the end, right click, remove frames. Now I just deleted that end. So now you see how you can do the scale, and then of course you can apply the rotate over here clockwise. And now you have go back. And so it's scaling around that point. So these are just things that will come across. Any questions? Are we good? What time do we have? When is our break time? Break time, morning, 7, 9, 8, 9:15, 10, right? 9:15, I'm past to 10. So we're almost right on time. 10 o'clock. So we break. So let me go back to animate. A few more minutes. I just want to show you one more thing which you will have fun with. So the next break, take the time to mess with this and find your issues so that when you come back, you're working on the timeline, you've created some pictorial elements, and you've got some things animating. So I'm going to turn off this one, and this time I'm going to work with the circle. I'm going to show you one very simple thing. So again, I'll get it down, right click, motion tween, applied it this time, come over here, move, watch what happens. See, there's no keyframe here. So I'm going to move it over here, makes that keyframe. You can move the marker to mid-frame, bring it up, and now you can see I have it playing up to down, up to down. So again, if I move the marker and I move the ball to here, it will make a keyframe. If I advance, once again, it can move, it will make the keyframe for you. Now, once you have this, you can take this arrow here. This may not be visible too well. I can change the color on this. Let me change the color. There, now you can see it, you see? Before, I could see it, but I knew you couldn't see it. So that was just changing the outline. Now watch what happens when I take this arrow and I use the pen tool right here, that convert tool that we did to create that shape. Mouse down. Now you can actually create curves within your plotting of very angular. So now your ball looks like this. And at some point, I could come over here and, well, maybe here, I'll do it here. At this point, I got to get back to my tools. Remember that. Remember what tool you're on. I could, at this point, do a scale. But I don't remember that shift key. As soon as it distorts, you'll remember that shift key. And so now you see how you can be able to do that. Now rotate's not going to work on this because there's nothing unique about this. So you won't see the rotate. So if I turn this all on, I don't think I have much going on. If I render it, we're going to see some crazy things, right? Disorganized and so forth. That's the work. Playing with it is really getting to know the tools, and that's really what I want you to do.